Tonight on Newsbeat, the LGBTQ Project paired with LSU's Office of Diversity worked together to create the LGBTQ Resource Room.
And a Baton Rouge business reopens after it was forced to close after the floods.
And feminist organizations across the nation put together what they call a Day Without Women.
All this and more Newsbeat starts right now. Today, a demonstration by many women across the nation caused schools, courts, and other businesses to have to close for the day. Good evening and welcome to Newsbeat. I'm Madeline Adams.
And I'm Johnston Von Springer. Thanks for joining us.
Today is being called a Day Without Women due to a protest by some feminist groups calling for women to not show up for work for the day and wear red. According to organizers, the goal is to prove the importance of women in the workplace and to keep others from taking the work they do for granted. Today's demonstration closed several school districts across the country, leaving some families in a difficult position when it came to childcare. Diversity is good for everyone is the motto here at LSU. The Tigers just took another stride toward an even stronger community with their new LGBTQ Resource Room. Reporter Stacy Broden has more.
Safe, welcoming, educational, warm, and available. That's home.
LSU's new LGBTQ Resource Room inside the Women's Center debuted as a safe space for students.
The purpose is to build community, to provide a safe space, and to educate those who just want to know more about a community.
Inside, there are decorations and resources that help students educate themselves about the community.
Before now, we wanted to gather resources, we haven't had the physical space to put them anywhere. And now we have a call. Now we can say, look, we have the room to put it in. We just got to fill it with all these resources for students.
LSU encourages students to visit the resource room to learn more about LGBTQ and to help create more acceptance and diversity in the broader community.
The Office of Diversity with Dr. Rivera's and the Provost and even up to the President's office really wanted the space to happen and they pushed for it.
We should want to be here and learn as much as we can about a people who are still underrepresented.
Students and faculty say this room is a small step, but also a groundbreaking step in the right direction.
I think this space is definitely a stepping stone. I think it's a step in the right direction for our students.
It's another step toward a more educated, welcoming, and diverse LSU community.
It's not about your sexuality. It's about your willingness to create a home on our campus. We have to represent one another. We all got to be tigers. Our stripes are just different colors.
Stacy Broden, Tiger TV News.
For more information about the LGBTQ Resource Room, visit them online at lsunow.com.
Small business is booming in Baton Rouge, and one local restaurant plans to expand near LSU. Tiger TV reporter Max Merchant has more on the story.
LSU students are about to get a tasty new surprise.
I think Lee Drive had such a good proximity to the LSU as well as the residents of Baton Rouge, the permanent residents.
Charles Kerr, operator of the Baton Rouge Muya location, plans on opening a new store on Lee Drive. Kerr says that Muya's quality will attract a fast-paced college audience.
I think we're taking a different approach to value. I think there's a transition from a value based on dollars and cents to freshness and service.
Kerr says that finding the right location is hard because of Baton Rouge's tight competition for space.
The challenging part for is locations. They're kind of running out of locations, and so that's kind of going to force it out, or some of these little spots are going to start getting taken out.
It's not a bad problem for Baton Rouge to have, as Baton Rouge is currently one of the best cities for small businesses.
Well, I think in general it's a good place for any business. Small businesses make up a large part of any economy. So if your economy is doing well overall, small businesses will prosper.
Dr. Jim Richardson, LSU economics professor, says that Baton Rouge is an environment that helps small businesses connect with the community.
Small businesses make up a lot of businesses because they cater to individuals or to small groups of people for the most part.
Being involved with the community is something that Kerr wants every Muya store to do.
but it's so hard to show that, you know, that compassion to the guest experience from the heart.
I'm Max Merchant with Tiger TV.
Let's hope students this spring will get to see what's new on the menu. Whether you prefer Thin Mints, Samoas, or Do-Si-Dos, Girl Scout cookie season is upon us, and LSU's Kappa Delta sorority has you covered. The Epsilon chapter of Katy is hosting their annual Tag Along with Katy event right now. A few local Girl Scout troops are selling boxes of our favorite cookies at Kappa Delta's chapter house until 7 p.m. tonight. Boxes are $4 each. You can use cash and credit cards. All of the proceeds will go back to the Girl Scout troops. You have about an hour left, so make sure to stop by.
Funding has always been difficult for historically black colleges and universities, or HBCU, and this has only increased over the past 5 years. Tiger TV reporter Kara St. Cyr has more.
African Americans were barred from entering universities and attending schools with their white counterparts until black leaders created the HBCU. Fast forward years after the Civil Rights Movement and Brown versus the Board of Education, and these institutions are still here.
When I came to Southern, it was a lot more personable. People were willing to talk to me.
Like Addison, many African American students feel that the comfortable atmosphere of HBCUs was a necessity for their success. But in recent years, the popularity of HBCUs has decreased for a variety of reasons. The most prominent is the lack of funding these schools receive compared to other predominantly white institutions.
You can tell that there's a lack of funding here at Southern because of, from the basics of appearance, there are potholes all over campus. The street lights don't work.
The funding problems cause some schools to cut educational programs and even some of its staff, while others have had to raise tuition, which contributes to the lower enrollment in these institutions. There have been efforts to help the underfunded HBCUs in Washington, D.C. President Donald Trump recently signed an executive order to help out, but the results might take a while to manifest. But in the meantime, students and faculty don't feel the lack of resources depletes the relevancy of the HBCU.
There are so many times when students coming from the HBCUs are so well prepared. Maybe they don't have the same resources. Maybe they don't have the big fancy high-dollar camera like you got here. But the camera that they use can shoot the video, can get the tape, can get the story, and capture it in a way that this fancy camera might not do.
Rivera says he hopes to see a change in funding for HBCUs in the future. Reporting from LSU, I'm Kara St. Cyr.
Funding for HBCUs is still a controversial issue. You can find out more about the future of HBCU funding at whitehouse.gov.
After the break, Tiger TV reporter Abby Rocha is in studio to tell us about the reopening of one of Baton Rouge's best businesses.
We'll be right back.
The grand reopening of Cleggs Nursery was this past Friday after being closed for more than 6 months. The nursery is now combined with a beloved hardware store that was forced to close due to the recent floods. The historic flood of 2016 devastated many homes, property, and local businesses. Nearly 6 months later, Cleggs Nursery is holding their grand opening weekend after recovering from the damage.
And started looking around and realized I was no longer employed and that there was absolutely no way we could rebuild this business.
While Cleggs Nursery didn't suffer severe damage, nearby Naylor's Hardware and Garden Center took on 5 feet of water.
I had a phone call from Tom asking me if I would be interested in coming over here and just doing the same thing over here. So 2 days later, I was now part of Cleggs Nursery.
The 2 longtime garden and home improvement store owners decided to reopen under one name to help recover from the damage of the flood.
Just had a handshake and agreed that we were going to help each other. We're going to figure out the details later. So we have Johnny Naylor's extensive bulk seed department that he was known for. We brought in their hardware. We've got an excellent supply of long-handled tools, in addition to a lot of big value products.
The business partners immediately got together and began planning for how they would rearrange and space out the 5 acres of land at Cleggs to hold all the new inventory.
We got it done. It just took a lot of work to do it, and that's what the grand opening is all about this weekend. It began yesterday, and we had our ribbon cutting out in the front, and we've offered a lot of incentives for people to come. It's been a real blessing for me. Like I say, it just gives me an opportunity to do other things, Yeah, I mean, I lost my retirement for the most part. I mean, I was counting on that. That's okay. My stuff got wet. I can get more stuff.
Abby Rocha, Tiger TV. After 63 years in business, Naylor's Hardware will continue to grow with Cleggs Nursery. The second ribbon cutting for the store location in Denham Springs will be this Friday, March 10th.
Thanks, Abby. More Newsbeat right back here after the break.
Don't go anywhere.
The time we have for today, but you can keep up with us on social media and on our website at lsunow.com.
Have a great evening, Tigers.